Welcome into another edition of the Destination Debbie Trade Show. You know who it is. It's your guy Ty Declare at Ty Declare 44 on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. But first, if you want your trades featured on this show, or you just want to be a part of one of the unbiased opinion, of course, one of the best communities in Dynasty fantasy football out there, Destination Debbie, head on over to patreon.com/allgas. This week, I didn't bring anyone along. It's just me. I didn't bring anyone, but y'all brought the trades. So let's get to it. We're going to start with Berserker, one of the staples of the Destination Debbie old Discord community here. We got a 2018 2-copy Superflex. Start 2 PPR or 2 tight end premium. Okay. We don't know how many starters, but we're going to assume 2018 2-copy. We're going to assume start 11. 2 tight end premium, so it's the 203, which is the 16th pick for the 28th pick. So you're giving up the 16th pick for the 24th pick, the 311, the 321, and the 419. I don't want to do math, Berserker. You hit me with a math problem at early morning Saturday, so this probably isn't going to be the one for me. I'm going to assume that a 2018 2-copy league, 203, you're going to do a lot more with that than you are 219 and all the rest. I don't really want to do the 2-copy math, but if I'm getting a slew of picks back, I don't really want them all in this draft, and I don't want them to be all thirds and fourths. So I'll take whatever side got the 16th overall player. All right, Dynasty Alex. We have a 12-team PPR Superflex best ball, start 11, 0.75 tight end premium. So we have Michael Wilson and a 2025 second being sent over for Christian Kirk. So 12 teams, start 11. This is a process deal, right? You get a down tier at the wide receiver and you get the second round pick. You get like 60, 70, 80% of the value in the second, and then you try to make up the rest with the other player. If I'm like no context, just going based off process, I think Wilson in the second could be the answer, but I'm personally just going to take Kirk here. I think Kirk is going to have a great year in Jacksonville, and I think he just slept on as a good wide receiver in a good offense that just lost Calvin Ridley. I'm curious what Kirk's value does through the draft process here. If we go up or down, or someone comes in and nukes what that perceived opportunity looks like. But I still like Kirk here. I think Michael Wilson has a better chance of just being irrelevant after in about a month here after Arizona goes to the draft. Probably brings in a top end wide receiver. But I like Michael Wilson too. So I'm going to take Kirk, but this is a good little process deal. And again, if you're not looking to be a middling team and you just want to move to the bottom, you're trying to get points off of your team, that's where I like Wilson in the second, right? You're getting the liquid value. You're getting that Michael Wilson who, if things do pop for him, he could be viewed in the same range as that Christian Kirk. But most times I'm trying to win, so just give me the Kirk side. It's best ball too, right? So Wilson has more flair in a best ball than a lineup than Kirk. But again, I'm going to lean Kirk if I'm trying to score points. I'll take the package if I'm trying to rebuild. All right, we got J Balls 24. We got a 10-team start 10 Superflex, 0.5 PPR. They have Mahomes. They have Murray. We'll get into that stuff after. So they traded away Deontay Johnson and the 103 for Kyler Murray and the 108. Interesting deal. Okay, so Murray for 103 is where my mind goes immediately. And I think that's probably fair. I'm going to lean Kyler in a 10 by 10 over the 103. And then if you're asking me Deontay Johnson or the 1-8, again, I'm going to take the 1-8. It's a 10 by 10. It's a shallow format. So that's what a 12-team start 8. 108 could be a Bowers, even I don't see a tight end premium, but it at least gives you the shot at a high upside positional difference maker. It gives you the shot at quarterback, even though in a 10 by 10, I'm not necessarily leaning quarterback. It's not as shallow, so I'm not as worried about getting a high-end guy. But I'm going to take the 108 over Deontay Johnson. And I guess in a 10 by 10, it's much closer for me, Kyler versus the 103, but I'll still lean Kyler. So give me Kyler in the 108 here over Deontay in the 103. But again, it comes down to having a plan. And what are you going to do with those picks? if your plan is to get the 108 and then move that for 2 receivers similar to Deontay Johnson or something like that, like I can see more of a plan. Or again, the 103 side, do you have another deal lined up where you can take this and put it into like a Josh Allen or something like that? Like you're not going to get Josh Allen for 103 and Deontay, but you know what I mean. If you have a plan with that, I don't mind that side of the package, but I'm just going to lean Kyler in the 108 there because I feel like Kyler's moved, but I don't think his value has met what I think he's going to do, or how the community will perceive him after the draft once they likely add another top end wide receiver option. So yeah, good trade, J-Balls, good trade. Back to Dynasty Alex. We got 12 team PPR super flex L. We got an L. I'm going to go lineup. Start 11, 0.75 tight end premium. So we're getting to I like these format. This is a good format. 6-point passing touchdown and a 0.2 point per carry. Playing crew receives Michael Pittman in the 103 and sends away Brock Purdy in the 106. Interesting deal. So 106 and Michael Pittman. That's probably like I like to say like 107 or 108 in my head when I think of Michael Pittman. So that's a touch more than what I'd like to pay for Michael Pittman if we're looking at the 106. But I think that's close enough to say Pittman, Odunze, Pittman, or your choice at quarterback there. That's probably close enough. Purdy for 103. I mean, I think it comes down to what you need for your team and what you're trying to do. Because there's no way in hell I want to pay 103 for Brock Purdy. But if my plan at 103 is simply to draft Jaden Daniel or draft Drake May, then I think I still want Brock Purdy over that quarterback prospect, while acknowledging that quarterback that you could take at 103 or that access to 103 to get that quarterback that has tantalizing and the higher ceiling is likely on the 103 side. Brock Purdy's doing the damn thing. He's putting up QB1 numbers in one of the best offenses we have for fantasy football. And I don't see that changing because his contract is very cheap right now. So if you're making this deal to draft a quarterback, I might want the Purdy and 106 side, because let's say you made this deal and this other side has no quarterbacks. They could take that Brock Purdy and then likely still have access to a Drake May or a JJ McCarthy, or hell, even I'm not going to say Daniels, but you don't know how this community will react to things. So I still think you're going to have access to quarterback at that 106, and you're adding a Brock Purdy. So if I have a big quarterback need, I like the send side. I'm a Michael Pittman guy, so I feel like I like Michael Pittman in the 103. I'm just going to take the pick upgrade here and just bet that on the clock, I might be able to make a move back to 106 and get something back. But if I have a quarterback need, I'm leaning the Purdy side here just because of what I know I'll do with this. But I like this. I think the best player in the deal is 103, then Purdy, then Pittman, then the 106. 106, then Pittman. But I'll take the best player in the deal, the thing I can do the most with right now, which is this. Slap Michael Pittman in the flex and just don't think about it for the next 4 years. Cool. Give me that side. Peacock 17. It's a 12x11 super flex, 0.75 tight end premium. Start to tight ends. Ooh, yes. So tight ends really matter. And a 0.25 point per carry. Very nice. Looking to capitalize on the London hype. So Peacock sent away CD Lamb, Drake London, the 306 and the 304. And they got back AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the 2025 third. Okay, so best player in the deal, CD Lamb. Next best player, take your pick between AJ Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then Drake London. And then, the thirds, who cares? I'm going to say that someone's going to take either the 306 for the 25 third or a 304 for the 25 third. So just cross one of these thirds off. So do you want CD Lamb and Drake London and a third, or Amon-Ra and AJ? I'm going to lean the CD Lamb side here. I know you're trying to capitalize on the London hype, but you did that by putting in one of the bona fide top 3 wide receivers in Dynasty right now to do that. It's a start 11, so I do think that getting depth and people that can contribute and having multiple numbers can matter, but you gave up the exact same amount of starters and gave up the better player in the deal for 2 guys who I love. I love A.J. Brown. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think they can produce probably similar to CD. But like you're saying, trying to capitalize on that London hype, I think the London hype is pretty real. Shout out to Ray. We watched a film session on old Drake London, or not Drake London, on the LA Rams to try to get an understanding of how the offensive coordinator might bring something new to Atlanta and what it might look like. And let me tell you, if they're creating as much motion, getting guys easy looks and creating space through play design, I think Drake London's going to be in for a pretty fantastic year. And you already see it in the community how he is valued. So I'm going to take the CD Lamb and Drake London side here because, one, I get the better wide receiver out of anyone. And then I can still think I know you're trying to capitalize on the London hype. I think I can still use that London hype for more than just swapping some 3rd-round picks and some wide receivers. So if I'm trying to move that London hype, I'm either looking to move up to a CD Lamb type or looking to go elsewhere, try to something cross-positionally or just get some draft capital back. So I don't mind the idea. I like the players you got back, and I like having the 3rd in my pocket for the season when I can use it when I need versus needing to pick a player, which probably won't be impactful fantasy-wise. But I like CD Lamb more. So give me the CD Lamb side of this one. Eplo, Evan, got a 12-team start 9, tight end premium 1.5 PPR. It's a super flex PPR normal, and it's rebuild time. So Evan sends away Zach Ertz and Deontay Johnson. He gets back a 25 second and a 25 third. Interesting. We'll start here. We'll come back to this one. So, yeah, Zach Ertz, the 25 third. I'm going to take the 25 third there. Feels strange to say, but I'm not bet on Zach Ertz being anything really fantasy-wise as for the time being. Then Deontay Johnson. I'll take Deontay Johnson over the second, but I know you're trying to rebuild, so close enough. I'll just take the picks here. Would love to get more for Deontay, but you're pretty much getting a second and a third for Deontay and then throwing in Zach Ertz before he officially retires, probably at some point in the near future. On the other side, we got Pat Freiermuth, and again, send him away for that second and third. Admittedly, I'm not a Pat Freiermuth guy. So if I can get a second and a third and a 1.5 tight end premium for Pat Freiermuth, I am taking it. So in the span of a couple hours, Eplo, I'm at Evan, got 2 seconds and 2 thirds and 25. That's he's going to be able to use a lot come the offseason and go into the next season. So good work, Evan. Back to Mr. Peacock. M. Peacock 17. We got a 10-team start 11 Superflex, 0.75 tight end premium, 0.25 point per carry. The 102. Likely Kayla because 101 owner has Herbert and Allen, and I have Mahomes, Tua, Minshew as main quarterback. So, okay. So you got Jamar Chase, Jordan Addison, and the 102 for, Hockenson, Higgins, Devontae Smith, Kyron Williams, and Bryce Young. Okay. Yeah, regardless of where the person goes at 102, I think it's going to be the Jamar Chase side here. So, Devontae Smith and Kyron Williams and probably Hockenson for Jamar Chase in a start 11 with the 0.75 tight end premium. I guess Smith and Kyron for sure for Chase. I'm not moving Chase for that, but that's probably close-ish. I'm willing just to cross off Higgins and Addison. That's close enough for me to say they're the same thing for my dynasty roster and probably the same thing on the open market or what I can get for them. But then you're telling me it's Bryce Young and Hockenson for 102. I'm taking the 102 every time. So this is a great trade. Great way to get an elite outcome wide receiver. Just swap around names in the wide receiver range. But the big win is getting that 102 for this pile. And again, you have good players in here. I love Smitty. I like Higgins. I like Hockenson when he has 2 healthy knees. Kyron, again, do I want to pay the iron price for Kyron? No, but do I like what Kyron does on the field? Absolutely. And then Bryce Young, he's a young quarterback. I don't know if he'll ever really get into that wide receiver, or not wide receiver, quarterback 12 to 16 range. I don't know if that's in his outcomes, but not for me. I'll take the 102 side of this and the best player in the deal. Good work. Back to Evan. Jahan Dotson or a 25 second. I'm taking that second. I don't need to get into Jahan Dotson. I'm not a Jahan Dotson guy. I will take a second in any format, really. I'll take that second. So good work. Oh, Lord, we got old Chief Heath here, my guy, posted a trade that we did in a 12-team best ball start 11. I'm going to see if I can zoom in here for you. Oh, look at this. Okay. So Chief Heath got 103 and 205, and I got Jahmyr Gibbs and Evan Engram. So again, it's a 12-team best ball, start 11, 2 quarterback, PPR, 1.5 tight end premium. So context behind this trade, my team has the 101 through 105. So 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. And I have, I believe, 7 or 8 picks between 201 and 302. I was the 101. My team also has Burrow and Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, and that's about it. Mostly best ball cans, any best dog shit wide receiver in best ball. So I didn't have a lot, and I was looking at these picks, and I had to make some kind of a move because I needed to start to fill out the core of my team, including adding some running backs that I actually want to roster and want to bet on. And as I've said on the last show, I think that the running back market is just very concentrated right now. There's a few guys who I am willing to spend for, and Jahmyr Gibbs does fall in that category. And I mean, I've been on the show telling you to send 104s for Gibbs. So I might as well be a man of my word and do that, right? Practice what I preach here, right? So for my team, I think sending the 103, I didn't want to send the 103. I wanted to send the 104, but Heath is a good dynasty mind. He knows that he needed one to break up what I'm trying to do, and he needed the option at 103, right? So he wants either the shot at quarterback or the shot at Neighbors. I think he'll go Neighbors. So there, I mean, 103 for Gibbs. In a vacuum, I'll lean the 103 side because I can do more with it. But for my specific team, I'm willing to pay that price to get a Gibbs, because I think that unlocks my roster more for when I'm trying to win next year. And then 205 for Engram. Again, I think a 1.5 premium. I think a 205 for Engram is pretty fair for the points that he puts up. But then when you look at my team, I have Laporta, Pitts, and now Engram. One, I think that adds another top 8 WAR option, wins above replacement option in Engram to my roster, so I can start to really, 1, build lean at tight end and best ball, but 2, likely outproduce anyone else's tight end room in the league. And also it makes me a little bit more flexible going into the draft, where I'm sitting there at 105. I don't feel hamstrung to try and take a Brock Bowers to do the exact same thing that I'm trying to do with an Engram, which is just add a solid flex option and keep away from my league mates. So that leaves me a little more flexible at 105. Give me another tight end in my room. Give me that Gibbs for the 103. I think it's a great deal. I think it's a good deal for both sides. I think we both did what we wanted to do, where Heath gets more capital, he gets more flexible, and I get the players that fit my roster construction. So I'll personally say, great trade, Heath. Great trade. I love it. Let me know what you think in the comments about this one. In a best ball start 11, 2 quarterback and 1.5 tight end premium. Do you want 103 and 205 or Engram and Gibbs? And just for context, in this league, I sent 104 for Bijan straight up and got told that that's nowhere close, and that Bijan is worth way more than Gibbs. So that's probably about the max that I could reach on the old running back ladder with those picks. Shane says, you know the man. 14 teams start 12 super flex, 1 PPR for wide receivers, and a 1.5 tight end and running back PPR. Interesting. That's some cool settings there. So Speed Kills sends Jalen Hurts, Deontay Johnson, a lot of Deontay being moved today, and 114. So what's that? The 202 essentially in a 12-team league for Jordan Love, Garrett Wilson, and the 110. Seeing Shane not come back down to earth, but kind of tether himself to earth on the Garrett Wilson Love has been something to behold. So Shane, I see you out here doing your thing. Like, I appreciate what you're doing. I mean, 110 and Jordan Love does not equal Jalen Hurts in my mind. And like Deontay and 114, I don't think that reaches Garrett Wilson, but the gap between the 110 and Jordan Love and Hurts in a 14 team start 12, yeah, it's closer. But then Garrett Wilson for Deontay in the 114. I still want Garrett Wilson there. This is a good trade. Come on, put some players to name. So 110. You're looking at what, an X worthy, whatever wide receiver pops up. Maybe if a running back gets drafted high and lands in a good position, the community will vault them up to 110. But at 114, you're basically looking at the exact same thing. So I'm willing to kind of cross off these picks. I want Hurts over Love. I want Wilson over Deontay. I think Love is probably more of a fungible asset, obviously, than a Deontay Johnson would be. But if we're looking pure points on your roster, this is a good trade. This is a really good trade because it's a 14 team. So, I mean, having access to a Love, if Love continues to do what he was doing, I think that's pretty close. Like, as far as like a package for package, this is a good deal. I'm going to lean the best quarterback in a 14 team. So I'll take the Jalen Hurts side, but this is a good deal. Shane, I'm curious if any other context on this one or kind of the why behind you did it, but this is a good deal. I like that. Okay, so we got a 14 team start 9 super flex 0.5 PPR. They still have the 102, 108, and 202. Feels it allows them to be a little more flexible at 108 and 102 and not really have to use it on one particular position. So a 14-team start 9, essentially a 12-team start 11. Yeah, so pretty shallow, but the quarterbacks matter more in a 14-teamer. So on one side of this ledger, we have DeAndre Hopkins. On the other side, we have Josh Dobbs and the 201. So, I mean, I take a look at Keep Trade Cut just to get an idea of what the community, who the community actually likes. Like if their score is going up, there's a chance that I can actually move them. DeAndre Hopkins, I've disagreed with their price for a long time, but they don't have pull in the dynasty streets. And if you get a second for Hopkins, you're probably winning if you're trying to liquidate. I think the move with Hopkins is to hold and just bet that he has another high Trinity score year and just produces for your team in that flex or that wide receiver 3 kind of spot. But here, I mean, you're getting a 201 for Hopkins, and you're getting who I believe Scott Connor called the best high leverage backup situation in Josh Dobbs in San Francisco in a 14-team league. I'm going to take the Josh Dobbs and 201 side of this because you have 102, 108, 202. I feel like having 201 leaves you just as flexible as adding a Hopkins to feel like you don't have to go like wide receiver at one of these picks. Just stay flexible with the whole process. I still like Dobbs. Like Dobbs is a great hold in a lineup league here, in a 14-team lineup league. Yeah, I'm taking the package here. I know 201 is, again, that's what, pick 15 in a 14-team league. It's the same thing. Like I'm fine with this. I get the why behind trying to get a Hopkins, but I'm going to take the Dobbs, the 201. I assume that you're on the Hopkins side of this one, just based on what you read here, what you listed for context. But I'm taking Dobbs and 201 just because, one, again, 14-teamer, I want the quarterback backup, but one of the high leverage ones too. And I'll just bet I can do the same thing with the 201 that I can with this, even if I'm forced to make that pick. So I think Hopkins will outscore the 201 and Dobbs if Dobbs doesn't get playing time. I agree with that. Hopkins will outscore them, but it's not all about the points that you can put into your rosters week by week. And I'll leave it at that because we're March 30th as I record today. All right, Paul. Okay, we have a couple here from old Paul. So let me see if I can pop up and we'll pop back down. So a 12-team start 10 super flex, 2-point tight end premium. They still have Mahomes, Watson, Levis at quarterback, and Pitts, Hunter, Henry, and other tight ends. So Paul got A.J. Brown, 210 and a second. Sent away Kyler Murray, Dalton Schultz in the 407. Okay, so you have Mahomes, Watson, and Levis. You send away Kyler. You're probably getting more for Kyler, and either people aren't coming for offers for Mahomes because it's going to cost too much, or again, Watson and Levis aren't giving you much, but construction wise, I get it. So you're moving Murray for AJ Brown. Yeah, I think that's close enough. I'll lean Murray. I'm just thinking about startup wise. AJ Brown and Murray are in that same kind of delta. If you want to add the 210 to that to make it go through, sure. In a 2-point tight end premium, I like Dalton Schultz a lot. I think he's worth more than a second. I think the 407 is nothing here. So if you're telling me AJ Brown in 2 seconds or Murray and Schultz, it's a very interesting deal. Based on the context you gave, I'm okay going AJ Brown in the 2 seconds, but I like Schultz and Murray. I think Schultz and Murray are the chance of the scarce position difference maker kind of outcomes there. But I think the process probably says AJ Brown in the 2 seconds is the win. So I like that. And now let's go to see the other deals that you made to get a preview of the trades we're going to go over here in a second as well. Here we go. So 2 more done. So Paul got Nick Chubb in the 211, and he sent away the 210, a second, and a third. So, I mean, cross off 211, 210. They're the same thing, right? Yeah, you gave away the 1 point, the 1 pick bump, sure. Am I paying a second and a third for Nick Chubb in March? I get it. And I see people in Dynasty and then on X and wherever already penciling in Nick Chubb as a healthy option for 2024, and I'm simply not there yet. I'm going to take the pick side of this deal, not because of the 1 pick bump. That does nothing for me, but I just think I can hold a 25 second and a 25 third, and I can figure out when I need to punch a running back into my lineup in season and just pay for that when that time comes. If you don't have an active league, I'm probably still not making this deal in March because again, I don't see Chubb being the bet that I want to make right now. And I feel like I'm paying more or less above market price for Chubb by paying a second and a third to make that happen. So I'm going to pass on that one. And over here, Paul got back Mixon in the 301 for the 209 and a 25 seconds. So 209 and 301. Obviously, I'm leaning 209, but that's close enough. And if you're telling me Mixon or a second, again, I think Mixon, I don't think his value necessarily went up, but I think you can see the path to continued points, and he's more available, and there is a market now. I'm going to take Mixon here because again, I am willing to make a bet on a single second for Mixon. I think that comes out in the wash for Mixon. I'll acknowledge that I'm giving up something here from the 209 to the 301, but I'm also just going to assume that I'm going to be able to do pretty much the same thing between those 2 picks. And then I'll just take Mixon if that means that I can construct even leaner at running back. I mean, again, you just acquired Nick Chubb and now you're acquiring Mixon. So if I put all of the deals together, I don't love paying 2 seconds, a third, and all these other things just to get like Nick Chubb and Mixon in March. But I like the Mixon bet more than I like the Nick Chubb bet. So decent deals. Really interesting team context, good settings. But yeah, just like it comes down to what I want to do in March, right? I don't really care about setting my lineup in March right now. So Stiley, we got 10 teams start 10 PPR 0.5 tight end premium 6-point passing touchdown in a complete rebuild. The league economy is middle of the road in terms of activity. Good context. Okay. So we have Tyler Lockett, Tyreek Hill, Matt Stafford, Christian McCaffrey, and Zamir White for Trevor Lawrence, Devon Achane, Jordan Addison, 202, 25 second, and a 25 first. Interesting. Okay. So my mind immediately jumps to, let's see what we can cross off super easily. So I want to start with the running back. So McCaffrey and Achane. I think Achane is kind of like great value version of Christian McCaffrey, but the community really loves Achane because he's young. He's in that Miami offense. I don't know if you knew this, Achane, very fast, very fast. Christian McCaffrey has done the damn thing. Was the RB1 last year. undisputed. And by all intents and purposes, that's probably not changing. So if I'm making it, again, middle of the road for activity, I'm not really making a deal just for simply dynasty value. But I think if you said McCaffrey and Zamir White for Achane in a second, I think that's probably close enough for most people to call that a wash. So we'll just take off the running backs in the second. Okay. So then you have Tyreek Hill for Addison and the 202, I guess. Right. And again, if this isn't close for you, make it Achane and the 202 for Zamir and McCaffrey, and then Hill for Addison in the 25 second. I think if you said the process side of that, someone might go there, especially if they're trying to get off those aging assets. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're looking at Tyler Lockett and Matt Stafford for Trevor Lawrence and a first. I want the Stiley side of this one. This is a good deal. This is a good way to send points away, send the win now build away, get back some dynasty value, but also you can kind of see how you can replace that value with higher end options. So as far as point scoring goes, I think he took a dip there, but dynasty value wise, you killed it. So good work. Way to take advantage of some of the lower markets on like a Lawrence, picking up that 25 first on a team you want to bet against who just picked up all of the win now pieces in March. So I'm interested to see how that one plays out in the long term, but I want the Lawrence side today. Oh, hey. Well, we need to get Ray on to talk about this one. Hey, we got the Royal Rumble, one of the premier leagues in the Destination Debbie Discord over up in Heisman tier. So it's a 28 team, 2 copy, start 11 best ball, super flex, 0.75 tight end premium. So Ray sent away the 112, which is the second copy. What I have to do? So 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112. So it's the second of this 106 pick. So quarterback, Odunze, someone in that range, maybe even Bowers in this format for sure. And then the 114, so the second 107. So 106 and 107 for Christian Watson. And the 106, which is the second copy of 103. Interesting. So, yeah, it's a best ball league. There's a bit of a running back positivity bias in this league. So I do think that someone might look at taking a running back in kind of one of those places there. But Christian Watson or 114, I'll lean the 114 just for the flexibility and what I can do there. I'm not really a Christian Watson guy, but in best ball, he's fine. But if you're telling me I'm getting a shot at the 103, so I'm getting a shot at a neighbors at one of the quarterbacks in a 14-team quarterback thirsty league, I'm going to take the 103 and the Watson side of this. But I get the 16, 17, especially for your team here, Rico, because I know that you need assets, you need to split. So I like getting like the 17 for the Christian Watson, and then still remaining in that access to quarterback or high-end wide receiver tier with the 106. So I like this move for both parties, but I'll take the Ray side of it just because I get the better pick. And I know what Ray will do with that pick. So, it's not an end game with just the pick there. Okay, so we got Ruben. Shout outs to Ruben. We got a 12-team start, 10 super flex, no other real context here, but Ruben got Gibson and Olave, sent away Flowers and the 110. So very interesting. So again, that's a 12-team start, 10. So Olave and Flowers, I think they're close. I'll give the edge to Olave because I think that his opportunity in that offense will probably be there more than it will for Flowers. And Olave has always kind of had a nice little Trinity score there as well. And I trust the Trinity. Now, I mean, Gibson for 110, that's a stretch. I'm not a Gibson guy. I'm a Gibson guy for what Gibson is, which is a cheap guy that I can plug in like my best ball running back spots or, have him as an any running back on a 53. With Eckler coming to town, I don't know what Gibson's going to be. Oh, I guess, he went to New England. I'm sorry. He went to New England again. And then on offense with Ramondre, I don't know what Gibson's going to be. My gut says Flowers in the 110, but I don't know in this particular league how far that gap from Olave to Flowers is and what you want to pay to get that Olave. So process-wise, I'm taking Flowers in the 110 because I bet I can just replace that Gibson elsewhere. But it comes down to what that Olave can do in your league. And if you want to make the bet that Olave is going to break into that, top 8 plus kind of range with production and value, then I don't mind the bet, but I don't know if Carr is going to get Olave there. So interesting deal. I'll take the Flowers in 110 side there. All right, we got a 12-team start 10, 0.5 tight end premium, Stefon Diggs or the 1-9. So 1-9, you're looking at a Brian Thomas Jr. If anything crazy happens, you're looking at a quarterback falling, or again, any of those wide receivers that got that spicy draft capital. On the other side, you have Steph Diggs, who will probably do Steph Diggs things, but hey, shout out to Chase and Cody. They identified some of the age ranges and things where production starts to drop off in the current context of fantasy and the NFL. Stefon Diggs has some stink on his name after, I'll call it a disappointing 2023. He wasn't the positional market mover that he has been. And I mean, you're in for the 109, right? Like, it's not a bad price. I'm going to lean the pick here. I think Diggs will score more points in the 109. But in the leagues where I have Diggs, it just feels like a sunk asset at this point as far as trying to move him. So if you're getting Diggs, you're getting him to more or less die in your roster and give you whatever points you can. In March, I'm going to lean the 109 side of this one. I'm curious where the community comes down on this, though. And here we go. 12 teams, start 10, Superflex, 0.4 passing touchdown, 0.5 tight end premium. We'll get to the additional context first. So Carlo gave away Etn, McBride, and Puka Nakua for Jared Goff, Isaiah Likely, JMO, and that 103. Interesting deal. Okay, so additional context, they have Mahomes, T-Law, and Levis. They have 1-5, 1-7 as well. They need a hammer, number one each position. Okay. So Puka for 103. That feels about fair, right? I'll say Puka for 103. I don't know if one side or the other says no, boo to that, but whatever. I mean, come on. Goff and McBride, 0.5 tight end premium. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking let's simplify this easier. So I want ETN over JMO and Likely. And I think I want Goff over McBride in this format, but it's close enough that give me the Puka, McBride, and ETN side over the total of this package. This is a great way to use the 103. And again, a quarterback that we like in a Goff, but pairing up just two kind of, I want to call them fluff options in your dynasty cachet there for 3 hammers, or at least projected hammers. ETN's more of a volume bet, but I'll bet on McBride and Puka being positional difference makers in a start 10. So good work, Carlo. I'll take that one. Okie dokie. We got 2 deals here from the big Janikowski. It's a 12-team start 11 lineup, PPR, start 3 wide receivers, and +7.5 tight end premium. Old Janikowski got London and the 106 for Amon-Ra St. Brown. So we talked about London and Amon-Ra St. Brown in a previous deal. I want Ra over London in a vacuum. I'll take the process side of this. Give me London and the 106 for Amon-Ra. I think I can do, again, I think Amon-Ra will outscore London, but London will still fit into my lineup very nicely. And I'd argue at this point with people already baking in the better outcome into London's profile, I'll bet that he's just as flexible as Amon-Ra at a certain point here. And you're giving me a 106. You're getting me into that elite tier. I'm either getting a Rowan Odunze or my access to quarterback. So I like that. But Shane says we know how Shane likes to build, right? We know that Amon-Ra is going to be that hammer that they want, trying to sell the London hype. So I get the deal. I'm going to take the process side of this. So I like it for the old Janikowski. On the other side, so 12 teams start 11 lineup. Again, 1.0 tight end premium. You got Brandon Ayuk, 108 and 203 for James Conner, and that 104. Interesting. So 104, you're either looking at if the draft was today, you're looking at a Daniels, a May, a Neighbors, maybe an Odunze. So something in that range. So I'm going to say 104 for Ayuk and 1.8. It's probably fair. 1.8, you're still going to have access to either. If things go as we imagine they will today, you'll have access to a JJ, to a Bowers, or to a wide receiver. And then you have Ayuk, who #trust the Trinity in the San Francisco offense is an elite outcome wide receiver. The air yards are just absolutely nutty. I could see the target share inching up as well as Kittle and Debo get a year older and Purdy just gets a year comfortable in the offense. And maybe they try to dial back Christian McCaffrey a touch too, just based on the amount of volume they gave him last year. But yeah, Ayuk can 108 for the 104. I'm willing not to do that. And then if you're getting 203 for Connor, that's probably a fair price for what Connor will do for your team if things go to plan. But I'm going to take the 203 over the running back in general there. So I like this deal. I like this deal a lot. Ayuk 108 and 2.3 for Connor and 1.4. That's a good way. That's a good way to capitalize on that 104. So good work. Good work. Back to Carlo. Carlo's getting a lot of shine on this show. Good work. Say, you submit your trades, you get on the show. 12 teams start 10 PPR 0.5 tight end premium. Trust the Trinity. So Carlo got Hopkins and Jake Browning. Sent away Juju. Evan, what are we doing here? Oh my God. Yeah, I want the Hopkins side. I don't think I need to go into this trash for Hopkins. Yeah. And again, going back to the previous deal, that's why I don't want to spend 201 and Dobbs for Hopkins, man. Look at the trash you sent, and you got them and a high leverage backup. Good work. Good work. All right, Sean Hamilton. Got 12 teams start 10 Superflex PPR 2.0 for tight ends. Stacking Schultz with Stroud. So Stroud, and I guess that's a 212 for Jaden Reed. Just before I hopped on here, I woke up in the morning. I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm looking at the second part of the Mannequin Chill that Scott and Shane dropped, and it's true. Jaden Reed is one of those weird values. I don't know how to value Jaden Reed. He's young. He flashed. He actively won me money last year in the championship week. But what is he? Is he going to take a step forward? Is he going to get nuked? I don't know. I'm going to bet that Jaden Reed takes a step forward and he will be more than just a threshold option at wide receiver. I think he can get up into that wide receiver 36 to 24, higher type range. Dalton Schultz in the 212. I think dynasty value-wise, you're going to want Reed, but in a 2.0 tight end premium, and you're giving me the stack with Stroud, I like Schultz. I'll take Schultz in the 212. I'll try to do something with that 212. Maybe if I need to get a running back or I want to try to buy a Hopkins with that 212, right, to replace that Reed. I'm cool with that. So I like the Stroud and 212 side. This is a good deal. And really, if Jaden Reed does have an elite outcome, you smash that on the Jaden Reed side. So very interesting one. I like the thought process in the 2.0 tight end premium and stacking with Stroud. So good work. That ginger dude, he received James Conner, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the 110 for Drake London, 112, a fourth, and the 103 in a 12-team start 10 Superflex PPR. Just tossing that 103 at the end of the deal, hey? Okay, so same thought process as Puka. Just cross off Amon-Ra on the 103. That's probably the easiest way to go about it. You can argue either side of that. Amon-Ra for the 103 is probably fair. Now, does 112 and a fourth equal the 110? I think you can probably do the same thing at 112. You can do it 110, the fourth, just get that out of there. So you're saying, do I want Drake London or Josh Connor? Josh Connor again. Geez, James Conner. I mean, he might be Josh Connor in this context. I'm taking Drake London in that. So I'll take Drake London, the 103 and the 112, and I guess you can give me the fourth too. and I'll give you that package. Again, I like James Conner. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think the 110 is a very interesting pick to have in the draft this year. But you're giving me the elite outcome at 103, or at least the package that I can send for an elite outcome at 103. Give me Drake London, who we've gone over. Again, he's not Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he's in that conversation. And then, yeah. So we've seen a lot of Amon-Ra for London deals. Yeah, I'm taking the package side of this one. But, I mean, you got the best player in the deal in Amon-Ra. I'll say it's Amon-Ra is the best player in the deal over the 103, but I think in most contexts and most teams, you're going to want the 103 over Amon-Ra. I like what James Conner can do, but I don't want to pay James Conner and the 110 for London and the 112 and all that. So decent idea, but I still want the package on this one, Ginger Dude. All right, here we go. The absolute wild shit happened in one of my leagues. 12-team Superflex start 9, 2-point per tight end premium and 4-point passing touchdown. Oh, Jesus. Okay, here we go. So we have a 3-team trade. We got the 102 for Lawrence and Rashee Rice. We got Jonathan Taylor and Trevor Lawrence for Nico Collins, Kenny Walker, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And we have Nico, Walker, JSN, and Rice for Taylor and the 102. Good Lord. Okay. So let's go deal by deal. 102 for Lawrence and Rice. Okay, so Lawrence or Rice or a Caleb and or Marvin Harrison. Or like the rights to that. That's probably good enough. I've never caught up to the ADP or dynasty value hype on Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice is good, and he outperformed my expectations in an offense where usually the rookie receivers don't do well in. So good. Props to Rashee Rice. I think he's good. Trevor Lawrence is for sure a top 16 quarterback option. And in my mind, if you're top 16, you're in a tier of yourself. And then if you can break into that top 5 from there, you're something else. So I'll put Lawrence in that kind of like 6 to 16 range, somewhere in there. I think 102 gives you access to elite war outcomes. But if I have a team where I earned that 102, I'm assuming, yeah, because they sent away the 102 there. Yeah, so if I earned the 102, I need assets. I don't mind splitting that 102 for Lawrence and Rice, but I don't know if I'm doing that 25 days before the draft. You know what I mean? I'm probably holding that pick until I'm on the clock because I'm okay playing that draft game. I'm okay holding that bag until we're on the clock and just betting that someone's going to want someone once we see some landing spots and we get that little extra push of call it dynasty hoopla. But it's a good deal. That's honestly probably a fine deal. We have Jonathan Taylor and Trevor Lawrence for Nico Collins, Kenny Walker, and JSN. Okay, so I mean, JSN and Kenny Walker for Jonathan Taylor feels heavy on this side. Jonathan Taylor and JSN. Again, I assume you're going to lean Jonathan Taylor in that sense, but I'm okay kind of leaning that way because, I mean, Nico Collins and Kenny Walker, I think that they can fill that role in your offense, or on your dynasty teams. But I'm going to take Lawrence and JT here. I'm going to take the hammers in the format, start 9. I think Collins is good, but like we've heard I've heard the chatter, right? We don't know if Collins is going to be is going to be what he was. We don't know what that offense is going to look like. But hey, Bobby Slowick is back. The whole band is coming back next year. So I'm personally going to bet that Collins is just what Collins has been, which is a threshold plus option, and honestly one that could enter that kind of top 15 range week to week. So I like Collins. Kenny Walker, I think he's just kind of been passed over. Sharps was going to come in and they were going to nuke each other, but Walker did fine. Walker will probably still be fine in a Seahawks offense that has a bit of a change in personnel and coordination, but it's probably going to be the same thing. And then JSN, Shane's talked about JSN enough. I don't really have to. But let's say like people on the market want to pay the 112 for JSN. You probably want a little more. Jonathan Taylor, people probably want to pay the 112 for Jonathan Taylor, and you probably want more. So I'm fine crossing off Taylor and JSN. And then if I have a quarterback need at all, I'm sending Collins and Walker for Lawrence. So I like that. And now here. So Collins, Walker, JSN, and Rice for Jonathan Taylor and the 102. I mean, yeah, this is where the L lies. I mean, 102 for almost that entire package. Almost. Right? Whatever doesn't make up, JT definitely makes up for. So I think Eternal 77 lost this deal. And I like the returns that this side got. Again, this is close enough. This is honestly a good deal. So yeah, I'll say that they took the L, they won, and this is just a good use of asset. I'm assuming they need a quarterback, or I'm assuming they're good at quarterbacks in other ways. That's a good use of asset. So yeah, interesting one, very interesting one. Made my brain work at 9:16 a.m. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right, we had a 12-team start, 11 super flex, tiered PPR, 6-point passing touchdown. Garrett Wilson in the 110 for Kyle Pitts, the 108 and the 112. Okay. So we've gone over 110 and 112. They're probably the same thing. I'm fine crossing those off. So you're giving me, we don't have any info on any tight end premium. So I'm going to assume no tight end premium. But if you're giving me Kyle Pitts and the 108 for Garrett Wilson, especially if I have a need at tight end and quarterback, I like the Pitts and 108 side. I think if I had to guess market value on Garrett Wilson, you're probably going to want a 104 to move him. Maybe a 105. But I think Pitts makes up that gap. So I'll get the Pitts 108 and 112 for the Wilson and 110 side here. But this is probably a really good deal. End of the day. But yeah, I want the Pitts side. Okay, you failed me. 12-team start 11 PPR 0.2 point per carry. It's a small trade. Judy for Zamir White. Let's read the context. Overloaded at running back, and White felt like the shakes my running backs. I'm interested in getting to Judy after the contract extension. Yeah. I think Judy will be what he has been, a wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 upside. I've never really been a Zamir White guy, but people like Zamir. So I agree. I'll take the Judy side of this one because I know that Judy actually fills that spot on my roster. He can be that 6th, 7th, 8th wide receiver on your roster, and you feel pretty fine with it because you're not tempted to punch him in your lineup. But once bye weeks and injuries start to hit, you might want to put Jerry Judy in there on those weeks. So I like that. Whereas Zamir White, I mean, you'll know when you need to start him. But I don't want to wait for that. I don't really know when that is. So if I can get a threshold wide receiver for Zamir White, I'm usually okay doing that. So in a start 11, good work. We got 10 teams, Superflex start 11-1 PPR. One side of the ledger sending away Ty Chandler and Jameer. And stop blocking out the names. Golly. Jameer Gibbs and Ty Chandler for the 105. I mean, you know what I did in a 12-team start 11 best ball for Gibbs. And in a 10-team start 11 lineup, you're getting Gibbs for 105. I mean, yeah, I want the Gibbs. And Ty Chandler means nothing in this deal, and I still want the Gibbs side. So, yeah, give me Gibbs. Give me Gibbs. Pretty easy. Super Fan Club, one of the staples in voice chat these days. Good to see you out here in the old Heisman House streets. Destination Debbie /all gas if you want to get a part of the crew. Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir, Dontavian Wicks, 110 and the 310 sent away for Hill, Njoku, and Stafford. This is an interesting one. So a 1 QB, again, a 1 QB. So 110, probably a threshold receiver, probably a Roman Wilson, a Loud McConkey, maybe something in there. Maybe a quarterback there. I don't know how people think in one quarterback. I only have one league. I'm sorry. I'm not a one quarterback person. I'm sorry. Let's just try to find things that we can cross off, though. 310 and Wicks for Njoku. I don't see a tight end premium, but I'm not really a Wicks guy. You're getting both Wicks and Reed. I mean, Reed and 110 for Hill. If you have Hill, that's probably what I want to sell him for. I'll probably say that's a little rich. So let's call it Reed and 110 for Hill and Njoku. Reed 110 in the third for Hill and Njoku. Let's call it that. And then I'll take Stafford over Wicks and Shakir. So I'll take this side, mostly because I still like Hill. Yes, Hill will retire one day in the NFL. We still don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I'll take the points for Hill over the package here, which is mostly Hopium. And I'll just bet that Stafford, Hill, and Njoku are gonna win me a ship this year. So I'll take that. Superflex 12-team start 11.5 tight end premium. Billy S 38 received the 25 first and the 106 for the 104. Simple process deal. I like it. You likely don't want to have to pay a first to go up 2 spots. I get it if you need a certain outcome, but I also don't want to draft based on need. So I'll take the package here. Good work, Billy. Good process move. And we're basically at the top. Again, there were some great trades, but I've been going for 56 minutes. So you're getting an hour out of me. So we'll end here. Paul R. Clark, 12-team start, 10 Superflex, 2.0 tight end premium. You still have Mahomes, Watson. We already went over this. How dare you post it twice? I can't believe this. I'm kidding. We jumped up to look at this one. So let's find the last one. It's a pending deal. We've gone over Jaden Reed enough. Here we go. We'll end with a Goat Rings trio of trades. This always makes you feel good. A little Goat Rings on the trade show. Shout out to Goat Rings. 12-team PPR start 11, 175 tight end premium. You have 104, 16, 18, planning going Neighbors, Bowers, hopefully Dunze, and in St. Brown, up. Okay, so we'll do all this. This is all in one day. So you made all these trades in one day. So Goat Ring sent away Nico Collins and Rashid Rice and got back Amon-Ra St. Brown. In a 10-team start 11, yeah, I'm going to take the hammer here. Again, I like Rice. I like Nico. They do not equal a hammer. Amon-Ra St. Brown is, if I could put it like delicately and really intricately, he's friggin' sweet. So give me Amon-Ra. So in another trade, you sent away JSN, or sorry, you sent away Godwin and the 2-5, and you got back JSN. This is an interesting one. So again, JSN, I think he is one of those guys where if something goes right for him, or if he starts hot, or if Lockett fades, or anything changes in that Seahawks situation, I do think JSN's price will go up in these dynasty streets. However, I am a players over process kind of guy. And I'm just going to bet that Chris Godwin is going to produce the same, if not more, than JSN will, even in some good act. I'll acknowledge that JSN has more trade value than Chris Godwin, I think. But if you're giving me a 205 to make that happen, I'm going to take the process side of this and just take Godwin and 205 for JSN, especially if my team has Chase, AJB, Puka, Drake, Ridley, Deontay, and adding St. Brown to that. I don't need that JSN. So I'll take the process side of that. And then, so you got a 306 for your absolute cans. Yeah, good work. I'll take the 306 over those two options. I don't need to go into that. Good work, Goat Rings. Again, it's close enough on the JSN deal because if JSN does become something, he will have more value than probably that package. And if I do have St. Brown, Chase, AJB, Puka, Drake, Ridley, and Deontay, I don't necessarily want a Godwin who's probably just going to be scoring points and not get into my lineup in a start 11, 10 team. Whereas JSN, I can sit him in that wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can sit him in that 7 to 8 range of wide receiver on my roster and just wait for that spike to happen. So I don't mind making this bet if that's what I'm using JSN for. I would just love to do that cheaper if I could. I don't know if that is possible, but I get it. Good deals, Goat Rings. Good deals this week, everyone. We did it. We got through it. I hope you like the solo show. I do plan on having some friends on here, and joining me because I can talk a lot and I like talking with other people versus talking to myself, which I think is generally a healthy thing. So make sure you tap into DD. over this coming month. It's going to be all DD all the time. The Destination Debbie draft stream is coming up. You're going to see me and all my friends on the draft stream. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be some incredible prizes. And if you're into Underdog and you want a shot at some really cool free stuff like jerseys, memorabilia, signed things you want to hang up, things that would actually look really good right up there. If I can enter, I'm going to. But hashtag or promo code DDD at sign up for Underdog for a promo match or for a deposit match. And get some great prizes during the DD stream. If you found this actionable, entertaining, or you just want to give out a pity like, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, everything that DD is bringing to you. And hit me up in the comments. What do you think of the show? What do you think of the deals? Where are you at? Hope you have a great rest of your weekend here as we lead up to the draft. Take care. We out of this thing. Peace.